welcome back to another episode of the Lollygaggers Dynasty Recap. This is episode 16. I am feeling great. The Red Sox took a series from the Dodgers. Some good stuff happened on the fantasy end. Ace, how are you, my dear friend?
Oh, taking L's on and off the field in terms of fantasy. So,
little bit of a flip for us here. Usually the Dodgers won coming in and you won coming in. And this is like a nice change of pace. Well, on my end, it's nice for me.
Yeah, I bet it is for you. Enjoy it.
Thank you.
James C., I'm sure he's enjoying this one too. So,
won't get too many more, so I'll definitely relish in it while we are here. Well, this is going to be quite an episode. I was saying to Ace beforehand, I'm kind of glad we didn't have too many transactions because this is going to be a long one just on the recaps alone.
Yep.
But boy, 10-day matchups are pretty fun. What do you think of all that?
Man, this is like our all-star game in fantasy. Like this is what we're excited for. It's like awesome. We get all-star break, and it's like 10-day matchups right after that.
Let's go.
And I mean, dude, the best part about it too was like I'm sure this isn't going to be the case every year, just based on parity. But a lot of the matchups this week were like significant playoff seeding involved in it. So like it just made these matchups so much more exciting to watch. And I mean, like pretty much until the last day, almost all of these except one, I think, were like neck and neck. I mean, and there was some pretty big performances Sunday night, today I should say, to wrap up some wins, and we'll get to it.
Absolutely. It's interesting, even just what 3 extra days, like you definitely see the cream rise to the top a little bit more. I noticed, as I'm putting together the spreadsheets, like, yep, these are all the names that belong. Usually especially when it comes down to, best bats and stuff like that, there's some kind of odd ones. You're like, I don't know so much about that. And sure, there are a couple standouts here from a series that happened in the great state of Texas that we won't get to talk about quite a bit. But we saw quite a few of the best batters really show out for their teams, and that I think bodes well for the finals matchup. Lest we forget, those last 2 weeks are merged into one cycle, so it's a 14-day matchup there to determine the winner. So that makes me feel like whoever does win that one, they earned it. It's not off of so one crazy pitching performance. Oh my God, this guy threw 9 innings shut, and that won me the matchup. It's coming the right way. So I'm looking forward to getting to that. Obviously,
typical baseball playoffs. A lot of people will argue, game sevens, or I should say, sports that have playoff series that have game 1 through 7s. Are a better testament to show which team is better, because it's you can have a fluky win, and I mean we've even seen in hockey you can have 3 fluky wins in a row, and that quite literally doesn't matter.
Sure.
And so yeah, I think the championship matchup is going to be a very, obviously it's going to tell who the best is, but it will really show whose lineups are deep like that, and who's been working and who's been cooking all season long.
Absolutely, and we're not that far out. Trade deadline's coming up on the 6th of August.
Yes,
there
sir.
We'll do a little bit of an extra trade deadline preview next week, just before it. But for now, let's get into these special extended post All-Star break matchups. Our first one is Zang versus Inten. My team came in 5-11, and Inten's team came in 7-9. The first time we met up was in week 1, and I did beat Inten then, but based on how we have been going, it just did not look like that was going to be the case this time, and sure didn't look like it on the first day when Inten came out to a huge lead, 121-54. Yandy's 18 points. Brandon Walter turning it around in Houston with 25, and of course always there Tyler Glass now with 24. Inten held the lead on Saturday, another 64, 34 of those coming from Shota. He held the lead on Sunday too, despite a minus 20 from Mackenzie Gore. Old friend Xander Bogaerts and Crochet with 23 helping me on the other side. Bogaerts with 15 there. And 10 held the lead again on Monday and through Tuesday with Mitch Keller's 20. Through Wednesday again, Nimmo with 10. Walter another 27. Glass now with 37 this time. Through the low-scoring Thursday, 12 on my side, 7 on his. Through Friday, when the newly acquired Lindor scored 14, Teoscar 10 for me, and showed a minus 17 for him. Through Saturday, despite Crochet scoring 25 on my side, But this would not be a wall-to-wall matchup, friends, because on Sunday, with 32 points from Jack Flaherty and Brandon Woodruff scoring 22, I put up 145 points to just 28 from Inten, stealing the win from him on that last day and winning the matchup 613 to 580. That's a 33-point difference that separated the two of us. I now sit at 6-11 and Inten at 7-10.
Yeah, this was an insane matchup. Again, we talked about it, going into Sunday. All of these -1 were insanely close going into it. Obviously, Inten came out to the huge lead, but this was the tale of pitching staffs, both negatively and positively, because for Inten, you had Shota coming out with a huge, strong start, 34 points, looking to build on that on these 10-day game cycles, weeks, I should say. So you're really pretty much guaranteed to get 2 starts out of all your pitchers, and really just let him down on Friday, -17. So you go from, at one point he had netted you 34 to only netting you 17 in 2 starts is really brutal. And Mackenzie Gore in his 1 start, I believe it was only 1 start. I don't know if he might have had another one in there, but in his 1 significant start, he had -20. So, yeah. I mean, that's huge blows. And like you mentioned, Zang, I mean, Crochet getting 25 on Saturday, Flaherty with 32, Woodruff with 22 on Sunday. I mean, it's battle of the pitching staffs. And that's ultimately, I mean, we kind of expected that going into these 10-day weeks, that the pitching staffs were going to pretty much decide all these matchups. And we see it here with the first one for sure.
Yeah, man, getting to double up on every pitcher is really big, and we see this is a little sneak preview. The teams with good pitching staffs, mine aside, of course, because my pitching staff sucks, but in general, the teams with really good pitching staffs really feasted this week. Hint, hint, yeah. Mr. FP. We'll get to that in a little bit. Felt like Babe Ruth calling my shot. This impossible. I think I'm going to come back against Inten, and then I fucking did it. I'm very excited about that.
It's such a massive win too, because Inten. I mean, spoiler alert. Obviously, I lost this week. And so that if Inten wins this game, he's only a game behind me, and I'm only a game behind a playoff spot. Yes. So it would have been a huge week for him. Unfortunately, going down to 7-10, he's still not technically mathematically eliminated, but the hole just got that much bigger, with a couple of the guys ahead of him that he needed to lose, lost. You really got to capitalize on a win there, and unfortunately he wasn't able to.
Yeah, definitely. And although it does inch me a little bit further away from that number 1 overall pick, it is looking like that is well out of reach, based on the team who is in 12th place there. So I will take take joy in my victory and just be happy in the moment.
Well, look on the bright side. You're going to have your first pick of all the MLB prospects.
There you go. That's true. I'll get to pick the first actual prospect. So,
yes.
In a way, it's the first pick, but don't get that one guy. In terms of best batters and pitchers for the week, Bogarts with 54 points, really strong. He only showed up once on the kind of highlights there, but just kind of racked up solid numbers throughout the week. Put up really solid numbers for me there. And then Brandon Woodruff with 55. He has been everything I could have hoped for returning from the IL. Took a little bit of a gamble picking him and, having him in that spot. I am hoping that, guys like Woodruff and Manaea, who I picked knowing they would be out for the beginning of the season, coming back. And, of course, guys like Anthony and hopefully soon Bubba Chandler, who I knew were top prospects coming in. Hopefully those guys making their way in, I'll start to see a little bit of a lift and hopefully a bit of a sneak preview into what we could be seeing next year. Yandy Diaz had 46 points. He was Inten's best batter. And Tyler Glasnow with 61 points.
Got him.
Was one of our pitchers and Inten's best for the week. Strong showing from Glasnow. Fortunately, just not quite enough to get Inten across the line there.
Yeah, we're in a 10-day game period when Bogarts is putting up 54 and he's not winning this pass. I mean, that's absolutely insane.
That contract's looking a little dicey, but still love the guy.
Yeah, that whole San Diego team looking a little dicey, for being real. But let's move on to the most dreaded matchup.
I'm surprised you asked me to move on because our next matchup is Ace versus JMC. Both teams came in 9-7. First time around, Ace did take down JMC, but JMC got out to an early lead this time, 66-23, held 60-28 on Saturday, thanks in part to to Anthony Volpe's 18 points there. Things got really widespread on that first Sunday when JMC scored 115, 10 from Holiday, 15 from Royce Lewis, and 38 from Gavin Williams. 29, from Nick Pivetta on the other side did, cushion the blow a little bit for Ace. JMC held the lead through Monday as well, 24 from Leiter there. A quiet Tuesday, but on Wednesday, Ace scored 58, JMC with 45. Ace just kind of slowly crawling his way in back there. 23 from Corbin on that day, who's had a surprisingly resurgent season. Over on the other side on Wednesday, Royce Lewis put up another 11. And then Ace, I don't know why you did this, but Robert Garcia scored 10 points, pitching 10 points against yourself. I don't know what's going on there.
It was bullshit. You know what? I got the call in from the bullpen, and, I just got to, money is money.
Got to do what you got to do. I suppose that's true. You got to pitch. 14-3 on Thursday, a slow day where JMC still held the lead, but a huge day on Friday, 106-33, thanks in part to 11 from Ellie, 23 from Evaldi, and 20 from Pivetta, gave Ace the lead. He held it on Saturday, 89-67. Michael Garcia's 18, Luis Garcia's 12. Apparent Garcia's helping him out there, and then of course the big Michael Harris game, scoring 22 from JMC, but on that final day, our New York friend would take the lead back with 133 points, a dominant performance on that last day. 11 from Burleson, 20 from Yuri Perez, 30 from Scherzer. And spoiler alert for later, there could have been another 31 from one of his starting pitchers. So a bit of a slip up there, of course, didn't end up costing him. JMC does take what was a close matchup, 635-574. It's a 61-point difference. Although that isn't super tight, it was very close coming into that final day.
Yeah, I mean, like we mentioned, yourself, Zang, scoring 145 on the final day. JMC was right behind you, the only two guys to put up 100-plus points on today's matchup. So it like we mentioned, it was pitchers, and like you mentioned, JMC could have screwed me a lot of ways sideways with how many pitchers he had to throw out on me. We were kind of talking about it before the show started, where I was, kind of surveying the roster last night, and I was like, let me just see, which pitchers, how many pitchers he's got going tomorrow. And literally the first three I clicked on were all going. I'm like, well, all right, there goes that. There goes any chance I have of probably holding on to this win. So yeah, great matchup. Obviously, huge playoff implications here. We were both 9-7 coming into this, and probably more importantly, because we're so close in record and we still got a couple of weeks to go, the head-to-head matchup is tied. So now I'm pretty sure JMC is ahead of me in total points scored this year. So this is a huge win for him on this front.
This is one to keep a really close eye on. Just knowing that obviously the two of you won't play each other again until when you would play again would be the playoffs. So This seeding is all determined on total points. And God, man, especially for two teams that are right on that playoff line together, the two of them, boy, it's really, total points are...
it's going to come into effect.
It's going to come right down to it. That's going to be pretty important to keep an eye on. So they'll definitely be trying to milk as many points as possible out of there. As we did say last time, obviously JMC did beat Ace, or Ace did beat JMC, but JMC took the win this time. So they are now tied in matchup, head-to-head record they will go to now, and going to be keeping a close eye on their points. Let's take a quick peek right now. I'm pulling up Fantrax. I'm curious what the spread is. As of right now, JMC has 7,662. Ace, you have 7,517.
Ooh, it's closer than I thought.
It's close, about 150 separating the two of you. So
and after that, it goes to points against, right? Whoever has the least amount.
You know what? That is a great question. I don't know off the top of my head.
Oh, okay. Assuming it does, because obviously we're tied head to head. I'm assuming obviously that would probably be the next tiebreaker.
Yeah.
In that regard, I'm at 78-10 and he's at 77-68. So even in that regard, it's very, very close.
Close too.
Probably is about as close as you can get. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see down the stretch how these standings play out here.
This is going to be a tight one, Interesting to see those two teams at the playoff line. Maikel Garcia was Ace's best batter, 45 points there, and Nick Pivetta with 50 points was his best pitcher. Over on JMC's side, his Minnesota Twin boy, Royce Lewis had 49 points, and Gavin Williams with 57 was his potent pitcher. None of them appearing on the list, but you'll start to see why when we get to our next matchup, because Al Martinet came in against Serial Chillers. Al Martinet came in at 5-11, Serial Chillers at 4-12, so a couple of teams near the bottom of the table. The last time they did face off, it was Al Martinet who defeated Serial Chillers. Let's see how it went this time. Al Martinet took an early lead, 92-66. Langoliers put up 14 on that first day. On Saturday, he held the lead, 83-33. Langoliers putting up another 13. Wilson with 10 and Kurtz with 15. Vlad put up 14 for him on Sunday to help him hold that lead. Andrew Abbott putting up 22 on the other side. On Monday, Nick Kurtz put up 12 and Willie Adames 18. Again, he held that lead. J-Ram with 14 over on the other side. A couple of pitchers in Roop and Yamamoto with 24 and 21 respectively helped him hold the lead on Tuesday. J-Ram on Tuesday also for Serial Chillers scored 12 points. I won't hold you all here too long, except to say that... Oh, there it is. On Friday, Shea Langoliers scored 12 points. Tyler Soderstrom, scored 15 points. And Nick Kurtz, first baseman for the Oakland Athletics, scored 42 points in what Jeff Passan dubbed the greatest single game by a player of all time.
Hey, he might not be wrong.
And I don't think he is wrong.
6 for 6, 4 home runs. What was it, like 19 total bases?
Yeah.
Ties,
8 RBIs, I think.
Yeah, 8, I mean, dude, that just ridiculous numbers from a rookie.
135 points for Al Martinet on that day. 42 of them came from a rookie first baseman.
God.
Yeah, not to bury the lead too far, but of course Al Martinet did hold the lead through the rest of the week. It was a wall-to-wall performance, a dominant win. He joins the 700-point club in a huge win over Serial Chillers, 723 to 560. That's 163 points separating them. Now, you are probably wondering, why have we not heard about any best batters yet? Well, because Al Martinet was hogging all of them.
Yeah.
Nick Kurtz with 104 points. Obviously was one of our best batters. Yes, 104 points. Definitely the first batter to break 100 points in a week. Obviously there's that, extra little bonus with the 3 days, but he put up 42. We'll count it. It's totally a record. Langoliers with 64 points. Another one of our best batters. Huge weekend for the A's catcher, and Vladito over in Toronto put up 62. Another one of our best batters. 3 of them for Al Martinet over there. Brandon Pfaadt with 53 was his best pitcher. Over on Serial Chiller's side, not to be put down too much with the batters, J-Ram with 64 points. Was also one of our best batters. That's 4 of the 5 best batters for this week, all held within this matchup. And Andrew Abbott with 49 points was his best pitcher. Those, of course, were not quite enough to cover one of the most dominant wins we have seen from Al Martinet, from anyone really, but obviously the win from Al Martinet this week.
Yeah, this was a God, man, this was an insane week of baseball, huh?
This was pretty crazy. I found out through all of this that 4 home run games are actually rarer than perfect games. I didn't know that. Yeah,
because what is it? I can't even talk right now. My words are fumbling. More pitchers have completed a perfect game than batters have hit 4 home run games.
Exactly. Like it's happened fewer times. So I do have kind of a fun little bit of trivia for you because Kurtz is the 4th person in the last several years to do this. So can you name me the last 3 people to hit 4 home runs in a game? I'll give you a hint for each one, obviously not to make it too hard. You all, of course, can play along at home. My hint for the first one is it actually happened earlier this year.
Yeah,
remember
first one's Eugenio Suarez, right?
Eugenio Suarez, that's right.
That dude does nothing but hit home runs or strike out. So,
and I believe was on Serial Chiller's bench for it.
Yeah, I do remember that. That sounds about right.
Now, my pre-hint for the other two is that they were both in 2017. One of them happened against the Dodgers. Do you remember who it was?
I remember that. It was J.D. Martinez, just dingers, man. He torched us.
Just dingers.
There was a couple of Diamondbacks players on that team that torched us. Goldschmidt, when he was there, absolutely killed us. Suarez, Christian Walker, when he was with the D-backs, he killed us. Yeah, a couple of Dodger killers I remember on that D-backs team.
Big time.
And
yeah,
the last one, oh my god.
So this is a fun one because the other ones you see, you're like, okay, I can see it. This guy saw it. I was like, you're fucking kidding me. There's no way.
Oh my god.
Reds second baseman.
Okay, I remember it being a Reds player.
Yep.
It's not. Is it Spencer Steer?
No. Because he's pretty young.
Matt McClain.
Not Matt McClain, also pretty young. Because remember, this was in 2017.
2017. Who was the second baseman?
His first name shouldn't be a first name. Like, it's a thing.
Oh my god, man! You're gonna kill me. I don't know, who was it.
It is Scooter Gennett.
Scooter Gennett. Oh my god.
Yeah, wow. I got kind of a kick out of that, being like, no fucking way. And of course, I remembered it when it happened.
Scooter not being a first name.
Yeah, no, that's not. I'm sorry, that's not a first name.
That's hilarious. Wow.
But yeah, so those are the last.
2017 was a weird year, huh?
Right. Well, and kind of funny too that both times it's happened in the past, a decade or so, like it's
twice
been
in the same year.
Twice in the same year, exactly. Yeah. Kind of weird.
So what was 2017, and then now we're in 2025. So when's the next one going to be? 2032. We'll get two more guys that do it.
2025. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Shit.
We'll keep an eye out for it. Make sure to start your power hitters that year in Dynasty. I didn't read out their records, but Al Martinet does sit now at 6-11 with Serial Chillers down there at 4-13. As I hinted, it does look like he has got a pretty solid lock on that number one overall pick slot, unless we see some kind of miraculous run from him. It does look like he's got that one locked down pretty well.
Yeah, I feel like he's going to win the Murakami sweepstakes, or he has won the Murakami sweepstakes.
They have already, yeah.
And Serial, enjoy him, treasure him, and we'll see what he does for you.
I gotta say, you've got me thinking: does he keep him or does he flip him for a haul?
I mean,
it depends. Be interesting.
It really depends on how he feels about his lineup in general. If he feels like, I mean, the other thing is like, do you trade it? Because obviously the haul you can get from immediately is going to be massive. However, if you stash him for a bit and he blows up, then the value just skyrockets even more, and you can just start demanding. It's basically people are handing you blank checks, and it's like, all right, let me see what you got.
Of note, Serial Chillers, a big Cleveland Guardians fan, does have J-Ram at third base, so that position is covered. Not obviously that we don't have extra infield spots, but just something to note. Our marquee matchup for the week, of course, was the Bose and Mike matchup. Two folks who have spent plenty of time at the top of the table there. The first time around, Bose took the win from Mike. So obviously, Mike was looking for a win here, hoping to tie up the head-to-head and put it, just like JMC has, up to total points, where Mike does currently have the lead. Bose came in at 10-6, and Mike came in at 11-5. Pardon me. On Friday, Bose took an early lead, 50-39, not a huge one there. And then Mike took it back on Saturday, thanks to 10 from Belly and 20 from Zach Littell. 10 from Shohei on the other side, helped with those 34 points for Bose. But Sunday, he really exploded, 129 points. David Peterson put up 26 points there. Joe Ryan put up 38. 10 points for Bichette over on the other side for Mike. Bose, of course, did take the lead there on Sunday. He held it through Monday again, 50-64. Held it through Tuesday, where he saw Seager put up 13 points, despite Mike putting up 134 points, 14 from Belly, 36 from Matthew Boyd, and 51 from Christopher Sanchez as he absolutely demolished the Red Sox. One quick note I did want to put on Monday, unfortunately, minus 18 from Hayden Birdsong there, who was sent to the minors right after over on Mike's team. On Wednesday, though, that 134 did pay off as a 44-29 daily win from Mike helped him take the lead back. He held it again through Thursday, thanks in part to 14 points from Brendan Donovan. Contreras, recently acquired by Bose, with 12, and Arias with 11 on his side over there. On Friday, Mike held the lead still, 14 from the hometown J-Rod and 24 from his teammate Brian Wu. Jeffrey Springs, what do we say? Thank God for Jeffrey Springs. 25 points over on the other side. But on Saturday, what'd you say?
How many times are you saying that? Huh?
Yeah, it's the second time now. I mean, on Saturday, Foes did take that lead back 74-53 and held it 78-43 through Sunday. Brady Singer putting up 36 points there and another 10 from Bichette over on the other side for Mike. Bose wins a critical matchup in the playoff standings here, 624-573. That's just 51 points separating the two of them. Bose and Mike now both sit at 11-6, but Bose holds the season series. So no matter what, no matter how many points they score, Bose does now have position over Mike as long as their records stay tied.
Yeah, and like we were talking about with my matchup with JMC, that's a huge, huge win for Bose. You know, obviously the fact that they were already very close in records coming into it, but like you mentioned, taking that 2-0 series lead over Mike, you know, that's going to have huge playoff implications. That essentially saves, a game for Bose. You know, he can afford to lose one, you know, and be in the same record as Mike and still have that tiebreaker. So
that's right. Yeah. And you know, obviously I think we expect both these teams to make the playoffs, but
yeah,
maybe it's playing the 6th seed instead, you know?
Yeah, it could be the difference.
That could be pretty big, for sure. No surprise, Shohei Ohtani was Bo's best batter for the week. 54 points, for the two-way star from Los Angeles, and 48 points from David Peterson, who's really had a phenomenal year in Queens. Bichette with 61 points for Mike was his best batter, and on just one start, 51 points from Christopher Sanchez. I don't quite know why he didn't make that second start. He only made the one, but that was enough to be Mike's best pitcher for the week, and it was quite the performance from Sanchez.
Yeah, it's crazy that he only had... did he only have one appearance this week?
He did only have one. I wasn't able to figure out why, but yeah, he just pitched one time.
Interesting. Well, he made it count for the one time that he did pitch. 51 points. That's crazy. And again, just goes to show 50-point performances. Typically, although for pitchers, you kind of hope for a little bit more, but usually that earns you a solid, best bat / potent pitcher of the week. But gotta love these 10-day matchups.
Not so much this time. Yeah, absolutely. Well, sliding on down to our next matchup, we had another one with some pretty serious playoff implications. Hideki versus Big Peach. Hideki came in 10-6. Big Peach came in 9-7. So a win from Peach would mean that their records are tied. Hideki won the last matchup, making this an even more important win for Peach to take. Not only would it tie them up in the standings, but it would tie them up in terms of season series head-to-head. Again, leaving it only to total points. Big day to start off from Big Peach. He certainly showed that this was a big one from him. 168 points for him there. 18 from Kyle Stowers, 27 from Chris Bassett. Castillo put up 36, and Reese Olson put up 24. Bobby Witt put up 12, and Springer put up 10 over on the other side for Hideki as he scored 57 points. It was Hideki's turn the next day to score over 100 with 111 on Saturday, but that wasn't quite enough to make up that difference there as Peach scored 57 over on the other side. On Sunday, Peach continued to hold the lead despite losing the daily matchup 68-52. On Sunday, Matt Chapman put up 10, Springer another 10, and Chris Bubich put up 22 for Hideki, with Soriano putting up 26 for Big Peach over on the other side. But on Monday, Hideki did swipe that lead from him, scoring 96-36. Will Smith's 15 and Gossman's 34 were all very helpful there. Gilbert scored 40 and Framber 29 on Tuesday. That helped Hideki hold that lead despite 33 from DeGrom over on the other side. But on Wednesday, another 100-plus point performance with 129 from Big Peach would be enough to take the lead back, and he would hold it through the end of the week. 129, 45, 125, 50, and 35 were Peach's scores. Some standout performances, of course. Salvi and Schwarber always hitting dingers out there, scoring 11 each on Wednesday. Bassett with 32. Zebby Matthews with 36. Really big performance there. And then, fun little glitch. Witt scored 12 and Springer scored 10 again on Saturday, just like they did on the previous Friday. Chapman scoring 13 on Sunday for Hideki, but that was just not quite enough to push him over the line as Big Peach does take that crucial win. They're now both tied 10-7, and the season series is tied and will stay tied 1-1. Meaning this is another close standings matchup that only comes down to total points now.
Yeah, this was again this was an insane week for all the matchups. Again, very close going into the last week, and Hideki had a valiant effort. I mean, putting up 88 on the final day, came just 30 points shy, which I know 30 points kind of sounds like a lot. In this league, that ain't a lot by any means. So a squeaked out win by Big Peach here, because he only did put up 35 on the final day. So not a great showing, although it wasn't the worst showing of the day. Yeah. We'll get to that in a little bit. But either way, it was still a poor showing nonetheless, and he was able to scrape by. So big win in the standings, and yeah, to go up and to take that series win against Hideki, to take that series win against Hideki, like we mentioned. Playoffs are going to be starting very soon. These matchups are going to be insanely important, and it's going to be the difference between, like you mentioned, a 6th seed or a 2nd seed.
Yeah, absolutely. I forgot to read out the final scores there. We were, kind of glazing Al Martin up for scoring 700. Obviously, you should, because he scored 700. But both of these guys outscored him. 729 for Hideki and 763 for Big Peach. That's just 34 points separating the two of them. Unfortunately, I think, yes.
Yep, 2 highest scores of the week.
2 highest scores of the week. Really tough for Hideki there, and not to twist the knife anymore, my friend. I'm really sorry. I'm going to jump ahead to bench blunder number 18. Kevin Gosman on Saturday scored 36 points, which would have put him 2 points over Big Peach for the win there. That might have been a benching for starts. I don't know for sure. Please tell me if I'm wrong,
no,
Hideki.
He benched, I'm wrong. He played Gilbert and Kodai Senga this week. Or today. Today,
okay. So
and both of them put up 8 points.
That is
6.
That is tough, especially considering the implications of this matchup. But yeah, big time gritty win from Big Peach here. And, he's, I think, somebody who we've seen that team fluctuate kind of in and out of the upper echelon. He is firmly seated right now among the top. And, obviously we know that won't hold forever, and this might change again by next week. But this was a big-time statement win against, one of our consensus, top 4 teams in the league in Hideki. Very impressive from Peach.
Yeah, we'll get to the standing segment after the last matchup, but Hideki's taken a bit of a fall recently, and where he was a top 3 constant, he's kind of fallen from the ranks a little bit. So let's see if he can kind of regain himself next week.
We'll have to see. The trade deadline's going to be important for him, I think. Definitely needs to improve the pitching staff. I know he's been looking for that quite a bit. So.
Yeah, well, I mean, he had some pitchers, just didn't play the right guys.
Just didn't play the right guys. That's true. Needs a pitching coach. Yeah. He's been employing the Zangarang method. Bench all your best pitchers when they pitch their best. George Springer was his best batter for the week with 54 points. Ryan Nelson with 55 was his best pitcher. Over on the other side for Big Peach, 63 points from Kyle Schwarber. Was one of our best batters for the week. Boy, does Schwarber just never stop. And then 59 from Chris Bassett over on the other side was his best pitcher. Of note, if Gosman had made that last start with the 36, he would have been one of our potent pitchers. I only count it if you actually got the points. So in terms of who scored the most points this week, Gosman was actually in the top 5, but I didn't list him as one of our potent pitchers because he didn't 36 of the points he didn't actually score for a team. So just of note there with that ranking. And I think we can slide on down to our final matchup.
Hey, so we know who we were talking about, all the best batters were on Al Martinet's team. All the potent pitchers are on one of these guys' teams. And,
if you've been counting, folks, you might notice we've only played the potent pitcher sound once. I wonder who could possibly be responsible for that. Okie Sooner versus Flaming Prius was our final matchup of the week. Okie Sooner came in at 7-9, looking to launch himself back kind of into that playoff circle, and Flaming Prius right near the top of the table at 10-6. Prius did beat Okie Sooner the last time they matched up, and he took a strong lead to begin this one too. 128 points, 20 from the hometown Caminero, 14 from Rooker. Nick Lodolo put up 32 for him, and Quinn Priester with 38. Big time on the other side, on that side. On the other side, as I was saying, not too shabby, 99 from Okie Sooner, who had Bryce Harper always around, putting up 21. Dylan Cease put up 28, and Strider with 33. Prius did hold the lead again through Saturday, but on Sunday, with a 121-point performance, Okie Sooner took the lead from him. Merrill Kelly put up 25. Cade Horton and Trevor Rogers both with 22. Scooble put up 36 on the other side. Did help Prius crest 100, scoring 103 on that day, but wasn't quite enough to hold his lead there. On Monday, Okie Sooner did hold the lead. Held it through Tuesday again, 44-14. On Wednesday, however, 114 points did help Prius take the lead back. Hometown kid Caminero again putting up 12 points. Lodolo with 52 this time. And Quinn Priester again showing up with 29. Prius held the lead again on the low-scoring Thursday, 10 for Sooner, 14 for him. And on Friday as well, scoring 53 points to Sooners 71. Otto Lopez with 13 there, and 25 from Barrios. Nice to see from the Toronto starting pitcher over there. But Okie Sooner punched back on Saturday, grabbing the lead back for, I believe, the fourth lead change of this matchup. Huge day from him, scoring 155 points. Cade Horton's 30, Merrill Kelly's 20, Trevor Rogers 38 points. But unfortunately, that massive day would not be enough, as Flaming Prius came out guns a-blazing on our final day, scoring 78, and just 4 scored from Okie Sooner. That, unfortunately for him, was not enough to hold a tight lead. Over on Prius' side, Glaber scored 12 points, PCA with 10, and the familiar face Paul Skeens with 35. This was, I believe, our closest matchup of the week, just 23 points separating the two of them. Prius winning 707 to 684.
Man, Prius, you gotta get investigated, man. There's gotta be some fucking collusion going on in the league. How the fuck did... First of all, we already know, Skeens and Scooble, whatever, cool. Dude, this guy's got Priester and Nick Lodolo, too? Yeah. Like, what? And, I mean, just go ahead and play the sound like 5 times.
We'll just, hammer on the sound. Quickly, we'll cover Sooners batters. Bryce Harper scored 60 points. Trevor Rogers also scored 60. Not bad performances from his guys.
No.
Not at all. Two of the best.
Although, I will say, Harper, although he put up 60 on the week, and that's great, putting up 0 on the final day when Okie only scored 14.
That's tough.
And to only lose by about 20, I mean, he had a couple of batters,
yeah.
But, Bryce is one of the big guys. You really hope he kind of performs for
big
you.
Time.
And
at Yankee Stadium, too. God, that porch right there. You
Dude, Jazz, both guys, a combined 0.1 between them two. Otto Lopez in Miami, he only scores 0.1, so 0.2 points between 3, guys that you're expecting, somewhat contributions from. 2 of them you're expecting big contributions from. It's very tough to see.
This is not my take, but the second I saw it, I was like, that is the truest thing I've ever seen. If Kyle Schwarber played all of his games at Yankee Stadium, I genuinely think he'd challenge Bonds for the single season record. Watching that guy hit homers, it's just, although all of his are like total moon bomb. So maybe it doesn't really matter.
I think that's why he's so much fun. I mean, just look at the home run derby.
Yeah,
I mean, the guy three swings. It's all he fucking needs.
Boom, boom,
That
boom.
guy's got so much power in those arms and that big beefy body of his. Yeah, it's crazy.
Love Schwarbombs. Kyle from Waltham, we miss you. Come back to Boston, buddy. Over on the other
Chicago
side,
fans are saying the same thing.
Yeah. Washington fans, everyone who didn't re-sign him after they should have.
Exactly.
Trey Turner did put up 40 for Flaming Prius, but of course that was not the star of the show. It was his pitching staff. Nick Lodolo with 85.
Got him.
Potent pitcher. Skeens with 68.
Got him.
Potent pitcher. Priester with 67.
Got him.
Potent pitcher. And Scooble with 63. Oh, I misclicked.
Got him.
Was a potent pitcher. I clicked the 3 dots, not the actual thing. Oh, that was so close to being perfect. But obviously, Flaming Prius's pitching staff carried him to victory here. That's insane.
Yeah, I mean,
that is insane.
There's really not much. The fact that Oki was even in, like you mentioned, this was the closest matchup at the end of the day. It was only about 20-point difference, 25-point difference, something like that.
23,
The fact that Oki was even in this game is mind-boggling. And I called, like I said, Oki is a dangerous underdog. Like, I fully was expecting him to, like, make a resurgence. Obviously, now at 7-10, it's going to be a little hard to do that. But I mean, this is it's such a tough loss because both like him and Inten are both at 7. They were both 7-9 coming into these matchups, needing wins here, and just I mean, there's not much you can do about that when you're going up against a Lodolo 85 piece, Skeens and Scooble doing their thing at 60 plus points, and Priester dropping you 67. I mean, that's just such a tough loss for Oki here.
Yeah. I all props to Oki, man. Incredible performance. 5 lead changes. 5 lead changes. Really, really intense week. And, sometimes you just run into the buzzsaw. And in this case, that is
ran into 4 buzzsaws.
Yeah, 4 buzzsaws.
Jesus,
That's right.
man.
Oki Sooner is now sitting at 7-10, and Flaming Prius is at 11-6. Ace, why don't you tell us about these standings as we have some new faces in new places?
Yes, so a little bit of some movement around here. Obviously, Mike losing that top spot to Bose. They obviously have the same record, as we mentioned, at 11-6. But like we also mentioned, Bose with that head-to-head, we already see that coming into play very early on. Bose taking that top spot because of it. Prius right there behind him, also at 11-6. But like we mentioned, with those head-to-head matchups, he sits at 3rd. But pretty firm top 3 there with the 11-6 records. Going into our next 3 and also kind of capping off the playoff line here, we got Big Peach, JMC, and Hideki all at 10-7. Hideki obviously taking a loss to drop him out of the top 3. JMC with the ultimately big win against me to cement himself further. He does move up 1 spot. He was in that 6th spot, does move up to the 5 spot. And Big Peach as well with, like I mentioned, the big win against Hideki firmly cements him into that 4th spot. I, myself, Ace, am alone in the 7th spot and alone with a 9-8 record. Like I mentioned, big loss to JMC. Going to need to bounce back. Still not out of it yet. Only a game behind. But the clock is soon to strike midnight, and I got to be in the ballroom before it does. So we'll see what happens there. Inten and Oki right behind me, though, at 7-10 apiece. Obviously, like I mentioned, both of them suffering a pretty massive loss this week. This was the week to get, right in striking distance. Both of them with a potential chance to be 8-9, be 1 game right behind me and 2 games out of a playoff spot. But with those 2 losses, it's going to be a little bit tough for them to come back for it, but still got some time. Miracles can happen, and we've seen them happen before. Rounding out the bottom of the standings here, Al Martinet and Zang sitting at 6-11, and of course, our resident basement dweller, Serial, at 4-13.
There we are. Alrighty, for bench blenders this week, we're going to try something a little different.
Did we lose you? Oh, there we go.
The list was 20-something long. I don't think any of you want to hear me read all of that out, so I'm actually just going to limit it, not to twist the knife on these folks, but to teams that lost. So these are players that potentially could have made a difference, and I'm going to try to kind of side-by-side my 2 screens here so we can kind of take a look to see how important they may have been. On Friday and Saturday, that first Friday, Saturday, Aussie Albies put up 13 and 15 points for Inten's bench, both times there. In total, that would have been 28, so not quite enough to make up the 33-point differential, although Intent does appear there again with Kyle Teal scoring 16 points on Wednesday. Those would have made up for the difference. Edward Cabrera scoring 25 on Tuesday for Hideki on his bench. Again, that may have been a sort of a start management thing, but tough to see. One that is really tough to see is Vinny Pasquantino. 25 points on Wednesday for Serial Chillers. I don't know what he did there, but not Serial Chillers. Pasquantino just scored 25 points. But a tough, I'm sure, accidental benching there. For Pasquantino. Colson Montgomery scored 17 for Mike on his bench. That 51-point differential wouldn't have really been affected with Colson Montgomery 17 or Emmett Sheehan's 20, which was on the bench on Friday for Mike. Of course, we did mention 36 from Gosman on Saturday, and Oki Sooner. His only real major bench blunder was 14 from Gunnar Henderson, but of course that would not have been quite enough. That was also on Saturday.
And looking at Vinny Pasquantino, just wanted to see kind of like what he did. Looks like he had a 2 home run performance as well as a double, 10 total bases with a walk as well, 4 RBIs. Yeah, that's a brutal one. That's a brutal one. It was against the Cubs, so I totally understand the benching.
Yeah.
He was negative 0.2 points the game before, or not the game before, but the game he played in before against the Cubs. So that's just a rough one there. You hate to see that.
Yeah.
On the bright side, he wouldn't have made a difference.
It would not have been the difference maker for
Serial
sure.
was one of the few teams where these guys would not have. It would not have mattered.
Drop in the bucket, yeah. How about our wasted waivers? What are some bats that people can take a look at should they be in need?
I'm going to be honest, guys. This was a bit of a rough week for wasted waivers, specifically for the bats. First guy is Tyler O'Neill, outfielder for the Orioles, dropping 43.6 points, which obviously in a 10-day game series, not totally great. We saw a lot of guys drop 50 plus, and even they weren't best batters of the week. So 43 wasn't a whole lot, and on top of that, it was because he was playing the Rockies. So kind of take that with a grain of salt. And then Mickey Moniak as well, the center fielder, dropping 41.7 as well. Just a couple of options there, a couple of outfielders if you're looking. Although, like I mentioned, Tyler O'Neill, it's a little bit inflated going up against that dumpster fire of a team in Colorado.
Ace was saying beforehand, maybe just stream the 8-9 hitters against whoever's playing the Rockies, and
they'll score 3 runs or something.
Yeah.
They'll put up some fantasy points. They'll take a walk here.
Tally a few runs scored. Over on the arm side, we talked about a fate worse than DFA being traded to the White Sox. Aaron Savali was sent over there earlier in the year and put up a couple really solid performances this week. 33.2 at Pittsburgh, and then I would say probably even more impressive, 24 points against the Chicago Cubs. Really impressive in the Crosstown series there. And then a frequent flyer over here, Luis Severino, 51.9 points on the week. Just 17 at Cleveland, but then a really strong 34.9 at Houston as the A's swept that series against their division rivals.
What the fuck happened there?
Yeah. I don't know.
Jesus Christ. Luis Severino is
buyers? No.
Yeah, imagine. But we're going to get the headline next week. Nick Kurtz traded. Great, here we go.
Start the clock. Speaking of trades, over to our transaction tracker, we did just have one trade. And I'm not going to lie, it's a bit of a puzzler. Big Peach traded Luis Castillo over to Flaming Prius, 1-for-1 for third baseman and right fielder Addison Barger. I usually try not to take too hard a stand. This feels like an absolute fleece.
I also want to point out, Peach was the one that dropped Nick Lodolo earlier in this year, who also went to Flaming, so god damn it, Peach.
We need to look into some IPs here. Are we sure that Big Peach isn't just a burner for Flaming Prius?
Big Peach is tied up in the basement, and it's just Flaming on the phone, yeah, this looks good.
He's like, who can I have you drop that won't be too suspicious? You trade me that won't, But Peach, genuinely, I would love to hear some of the reasoning here. I will say Addison Barger has been something of a breakout for the Toronto Blue Jays over there. And the third base right field eligibility is helpful there. But boy, Luis Castillo has been a consistent and reliable pitcher for a while. So I do have to say, this one really surprised me when I first saw it. Peach, I'd love to hear from you kind of what your thoughts are. Obviously, shoot us a message in the Discord, let us know. And we have been more than wrong about trades before, so
yes.
Who knows? This one could totally, go the opposite way, the way we think it does. So
yeah, and I mean, Prius and Peach are right behind each other in the standings. Obviously, a game separating them. Prius at 11-6, Peach at 10-7, but 3 and 4 in the standings. So there's a couple of You never really see big moves like that happen amongst the top teams. Usually, it's a lower ranked team kind of selling off or something like that.
And that's something that stood out to me. That may be the reasoning for Peach. Barger's young. I think this might be his rookie year or sophomore year, so it might just be a little bit of youth movement. Obviously, I think Castillo's over the age of 30, so there's a little bit of that. But yeah, interesting for sure. And we'll definitely be keeping a close eye on Luis Castillo points, particularly during the Peach and Prius matchup there. Speaking of our next matchups, what have we got going on coming up next week?
Yeah, so taking a look at next week ahead, we have a kind of I don't want to say bottom of the basement barrel, but we have a bit of some lower ranked teams playing each other. We got N10 taking on Al Martinet. N10 did win the first matchup versus the two, and a couple of guys that are obviously, in a dogfight for a playoff spot. I think it's going to be a very interesting matchup. N10 obviously needing it. Al Martinet needing it a lot more, being a game behind N10. But realistically, I think N10 and Oki being at 7-10 are really the only guys that have a long shot. I think Al Martinet's kind of wrapping it up here soon. Might be playing for the draft, but going to be an interesting matchup nonetheless. A bit of a bigger one here. We have the top-ranked team, Bose, taking on Oki. Like I just mentioned, Oki and N10, a couple of guys that are dogfighting, looking for a, top playoff spot. Oki, the lone guy in this bottom half of the non-playoff or non-playoff teams at the moment that has scored 8,000 plus points. So, like I mentioned, somebody that I was very high on, coming back, making a strong playoff push. A little bit of bad luck in some of the matchups, but he definitely got the team to do it. So, it could be a very big upset and a huge win for Oki if he's able to take that one this week against Bose. It's going to be a tough matchup for me. I'm going up against Mike. I was a terrified matchup the first time I did it. Came out on top. I'm even more scared now because this was kind of like the same thing last week with JMC. I took the first matchup against him, and he beat me when it mattered most. So Mike, obviously in the firm second place position. It's going to be a very tough week for me for sure. Moving on to the next matchup, we got JMC and Serial. Serial. A bit of a free week here for JMC, although if Serial can make a huge upset play here, it would certainly shake up the playoff seedings. Obviously, I think JMC is pretty favored in this matchup, as he did win the first matchup against Serial, so looking to go 2-0 and firmly put himself in that playoff picture. Moving on to the next matchup, we got Peach taking on Zang. Peach, obviously, like I mentioned, rounding out that 10-7 or topping out that 10-7 bunch here. He's going up against you, like I mentioned, and like we were saying with the guys that are 6-11 and below, it's pretty much over for them. Kind of turning their attention towards the draft now. But you can always play spoiler, and against these top teams, you always want to look out for a loss that you weren't expecting, and this could definitely be one of them. And to round out our last matchup of the week for next week, we got Prius taking on Hideki. This is easily the biggest matchup of the week. Two top teams that are only separated by one win. Prius did take the first matchup against Hideki, and it was a very, very close game, only a 2-point win. Yeah. And I'm pretty sure that is one of, if not the closest victory we've seen. We'll definitely have to go back into the archives.
I'm pretty sure that's the closest.
But 2 points is almost absurd. You never see anybody win by, any less than that. So this is a big revenge matchup for Hideki after suffering, a pretty heartbreaking loss that first week. He needs it bad this week. Like I mentioned, 10-7 in the last playoff spot at 10-7. I'm right behind him, hoping he loses. So in the weird spot, I'm actually hoping for Prius, the guy who's firmly cemented in the top, to take this win here, as I'm in a battle with Hideki. But it is going to be my matchup of the week to watch, of course. Not that I think anybody else should have a different one. I think this is definitely the marquee matchup of the week. That's
prime time. That's Sunday night fantasy baseball
yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. God damn it. At least we're gonna get fucking smolts.
I know. God. He's coming on the pod. No,
I love you. If you do want to come on the pod, man, we'd love that.
Hang out. Let's talk about how baseball used to be better when you were playing.
Yeah. Oh god.
Yeah, I would love to have another matchup, but that is the one. That is the big ticket again. Prius looking to kind of secure hypothetically a spot over Hideki. He's obviously ahead of him right now. With a win next week, he would be ahead of him, or he would win the season series. And gosh, that sure feels like it would lock things up there. So that is obviously a pretty big matchup for him there. And yeah, Hideki, after a bit of a slow couple weeks, is trying to work his way back in and even things out, where he could take the lead in points. Just 4 points separate the two of them right now. So if he wins, he would probably be ahead in points against Prius, and that would have them at the same record. So look, that is a huge matchup. We are obviously keeping our eye on that. And along with that one and our other matchups, we're looking forward to recapping it next week with you all.
Hell yeah, it's very exciting. We love that you guys are, watching, however you guys are listening to this. We really appreciate it. We love making it for you. And yeah, the more you guys listen, the more we're going to want to do it. So we appreciate y'all.
Absolutely. All right. We'll talk to you next week.
Have a good one.
Do you know what that makes you, Larry?
Lollygaggers.
Lollygaggers.